Welcome to Community Church TV. I'm Pastor Wade Wolin at Community Church, for those who haven't met me yet. It's good to be here, and I hope that you enjoy this segment of Community Church TV. I wanted to talk to you about the life group curriculum that's starting this Sunday. It's faith lessons on the death and resurrection of the Messiah. What I love about this curriculum is that it really explains the context of first century Galilee to you. It goes into the cultural context, the religious context, and the historical context. Now, the writers of the Gospels assumed that the people they were writing to would understand these things, would understand the culture, the geography, the history, the religious groups that were there. And yet we find ourselves 2,000 years after that in a much different place. Hong Kong, 20th, 1st century, is certainly different than 1st century Galilee. Our worlds are much changed. There's also very much that's still the same. We still find ourselves in a fallen world, and we still find ourselves in need of a Lord and a Savior. I like to think of it this way. If you were writing a letter to somebody who had lived in Hong Kong their whole lives, and maybe you've lived in Hong Kong your whole lives, you would include things in that letter that you knew they would understand. They would understand where certain locations were, what writing the MTR meant, where the peak was, things that I'm just now starting to understand a little bit. But if you wrote the same letter to somebody across the globe who had never been to Hong Kong, you would probably take out some of those really specific references to the culture here in Hong Kong. Well, we get a chance with this curriculum to jump into the context of 1st century Galilee and to really uncover some of the meanings that the writers intended when they wrote these books and these letters. So I'm looking forward to looking at this study myself, and I hope your groups are as well. The first lesson is called When Storms Come, and it really looks at the significance of water in the Gospels. And it examines some of those stories where water are crashing in on the disciples, on their boat, when water is signifying, really a mystery and really calamity for the disciples. And the disciples find Jesus to their rescue during these stories. So it kind of uncovers some of what that water means. You'll get to see some great footage of Galilee in there, on the boats itself. And the significance of When Storms Come is that we all face storms in life. They faced storms back then, real storms, as well as storms of events that happen in our lives that we have no control over. Following God does not exempt us from having crises, tragedy, sorrow, really events beyond our control. Many of these things happen to us without us having any decision over it. And yet, in the midst of those trials, in the midst of those storms, as believers, we have the assurance of Christ's presence in the midst of those storms. So I hope that for you and for your groups this week, that you really have the assurance that we do worship a God that is bigger than any storm you will face. So you guys have a great week. I look forward to hearing how things go, and Christ's blessing on all of you.